Hello and welcome back to the Breakthrough Press podcast. Today we're going to be hearing from some of our editorial team about the process that goes on behind the scenes.
Hello, I'm Hafid, features editor at Breakthrough Press.
Hi, I'm Derek, sub-editor at Breakthrough Press.
I'm Alex, news editor at Breakthrough Press.
Well, today we will discuss the process of editing and picking up stories according to our unique selling point at Breakthrough Press.
It is one of the most important things of finding out where to get these stories.
Of course.
You know, progress is always happening in the world, but it's a matter of knowing where that progress is.
And paradoxically, as you said, progress is everywhere in the world, but the problem is that we noticed at Breakthrough Press before the launch that there is media of often mainstream bad news or depressing information.
Which is why we went for our unique selling point, technological advances and sort of social advances, rather than just always going for the bad news story that sells newspapers. So did you two find it difficult finding stories that would spit with our ethos?
I would say it's not always easy because every story has both sides, sometimes positive one, sometimes negative. I'm thinking about the interesting one about the mammoth. Yes, this is an interesting one. There are really very serious researchers now that are going to bring back maybe the mammoth to life, which it seems to be an interesting breakthrough, positive news. But is this mammoth like his genes suitable with the environment today? We know that we had a global warming. Maybe these animals won't live happy today. So there are always both sides in the same use, but this makes sometimes hard to pick up some information. But yes.
Now, what would the benefit of bringing a mammoth be? Bringing a mammoth back to life be? That's what I was wondering. Now, you covered the top 10.
Yeah, I did the one about a dodo coming back as well.
Yeah.
And then, fun thing, obviously it'd be a pretty cool thing to see, you know, something that's been long gone, come back. But apart from that, apart from it being cool, would it be applicable? Maybe there is a reason that they're no longer around. Is this world for them anymore?
Maybe they were delicious. But I suppose it comes out of the argument, is it like preserving the set of animals we've got already? If should the energy work go into that rather than bringing dinosaurs back, you know, so.
And that's exactly one of the words that came out in one of my articles. Rescue, not resurrect. And I think sometimes maybe we need to think about the changes of the world and maybe are we going too far with some of these changes? Or are these changes going to benefit? Who are these changes going to benefit?
So where would you keep maps as well?
Yeah, good question.
And overall, we can see either through this mammoth history or others, like it's better to have quick wins. And we saw it with several articles. The one about the paintings in the painter in I forgot her name in Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's one of the
Yeah, exactly. Yasmin's one. The quick win that brings a lot of positive to the community, rather than big achievement like maybe this of the mammoth.
Yeah.
Then we have question mark whether it's, as you say, useful or not, because there are actual species who are now.
But I did like the sort of top 10 vote we had. It's like that. And that came out on top in the end.
Is it?
It was the Willie Mouse.
Willie Mallet. Oh, I would have stabbed the Brit for the saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah. But it was tough competition.
It was. I think what was the top 3?
Can't remember now.
Puff. I think it's probably the dodo heading sort of string.
But yeah, you know, and the woolly mammoth thing was really popular because it's been around in the media a lot, you know. Fans of the movie Ice Age will remember Manny. So I think those kind of films have brought it to the new generation. And maybe bringing them back to life would also bring it to a new generation.
Would sell movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you do? Something the mammoth thought. What would you do with it?
I'd say create like parks and give the vision to people to go visit. The article mentions that movie choice.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be wondering how they taste like. You know,
I'm very much any close to the elephant. We have food chains on a bit mouth.
So what was our body boy from going about there? And I can get an actual, we need to move on to the again. It's just this fantastic 5 minutes on William Manley.
And it,
Yeah, it was getting a nod from Hafid there, so don't worry. Today, so I thought I did the to one goal.
Yeah, it's indeed to produce these stories. We had a long and complex editing process. Can you describe it for us, features?
yes. I believe teamwork played an important role, but as an editor, I kind of looked around the world, checked BBC News, The Guardian, The Times, magazines, science magazines, wherever the latest breakthrough is. And then also the community, what's going on in the community. And then, of course, that's resulted in stories such as the one about the paid tours, one about a community garden, and, just keeping an eye out everywhere. And then, of course, teamwork as well. People will do similar research, and then they'll come in with their own stories, and then they'll present it to me, and then I'll give it the go-ahead.
How did you find it to begin with? Had you done any editing before?
Well, apart from editing my own work.
Yeah.
No.
Because I found when I started in the sub-editing office, you had seen the articles before me, so I kind of edited to a certain extent, but having to work to the BBC guideline, but maybe that was really difficult for me because they're so fast.
Yeah.
But having them just there, so you could just check back on them every now and again. But I found it quite difficult to begin with. But once you got into the swing of it, normally by about the second month, I think I could almost understand what I was doing, and then it was getting a bit quicker. But so I think I'm okay at about it. I maybe need a year at it to be really good at it, but I'm getting there.
Practice will make perfect. The more you read, the more you'll pick up on what the story's like, and then the more you write, the more you'll have an idea of what a good writing is.
And it's to come back to the editing process, it is a teamwork. I might maybe give some steps for people who are listening to us. Like, first step is of course the writer produces the story, the journalist. Second step, we have the features editor or news editor who's before he has to validate with him if it's yes or not fitting with the USP, and then also he writes the news or the features, and then the editors read it and vet it, and then we have the sub-editor who's gonna bring some also subbing.
Yeah, we take for grammar. As I said, it offers meet the BBC criteria for publication, but even then it's got to go to the editors after that to get vetted before it's published. So there's a few bits to go through. So the articles that are actually published on the website should be, there shouldn't be too many mistakes. Obviously, that few things slip through the net. I think in the beginning as well, when we were transferring things over, somehow things were getting mixed up. I don't know whether it was part of the transfer process, but mistakes that weren't there, when we were giving them to Anish, to transfer over, seemed to happen as soon as they were published. Fonts were going a different.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah, and the sort of structure of paragraphs and stuff that we put in would change every now and again.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've kind of ironed those kinks out, so we've good. So I think what we're getting now is pretty consistent, pretty good.
And we did pretty much well. Yes, I agree.
Yep. So did any of you experience any kickback from any of the suggestions you've made to people's articles? Was there anything in that?
I'll say I was about to talk about BBC. What they did in the social networks since a few years is to highlight unusual stories. I'd say seeing BBC talking about aliens or BBC talking about paranormal stuff in their social media account. And this is interesting to grab attention of unusual public. Maybe at Press we should go bit to this time further, because we are already barely starting going to these unusual stories that make
we're getting a number 4 through us. Maybe still time to do that.
Yeah. because you never know what's going to happen. And yeah, and it just fall from the sky. But
change two topics that I focus a lot on. That's where often I have inspiration to find interesting stories. There is one upcoming featured about one Moroccan women football player that is also half Scottish.
So further bar.
Yeah, you've heard about her.
Why didn't she play for Scotland? I didn't qualify.
Yes, Scotland did not qualify, then I think she preferred somehow Morocco, but she's what binational people would always be judged with why you don't choose one. But I think they have this equal love for their, and she says this, and she has a tremendous love for Scotland. She should play for Morocco in the next upcoming World Cup. This is very positive news, and you can see how I get my inspiration also for climate change. There's this IPCC synthesis report, so brings positive stuff among very notion of negative, of bad news, unfortunately. But there are positives. I'm thinking about the energy sufficiency concept that is now growing high. So everyone, I think, like you, Alex, and Barrett, have your own inspiration and forces.
We widely like them. I subscribe to a lot of websites as well, so I kind of get newsletters every day and I have to troll through them, but sometimes I'm there's just a dime into it to come out. So I've ended up with a list of things I want to write about, but I don't write about them. So I had been trying to get that with the sub-editing as well. There's a balancing act, but I think everybody's doing really well, like in terms of like output. I don't know, like even like in the mainstream media, you can find some things like tucked away that are wanting potentially like grow into a decent story. So if you can get there quickly and sort of research it a bit yourself, maybe find another angle on it.
Yeah,
and we've got the kind of freedom to do that here, I suppose.
yeah, and of course, resource-wise, the internet provides open doors for opportunities you might not have picked up upon. Like crowdfunders, stuff like that. You can spotlight stories about them that you might not have realised anywhere else. Like we had one about a short film, which is one of my favourite articles that has been written by the team, because I think it really shows creativity.
Yeah, and I think that one actually came from a post on Twitter initially. So even just looking at Twitter, you can find things there if you look hard enough.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can find stories. But also using the library has been a good way, because they've always got papers lined up.
Yeah, we at the Endorphinian library in which our newsroom is hosted. It's a 2 million book, I think, library, which is a big institution in Glasgow.
But that's the first thing we do is we nick all the papers, have them in here most of the day. So apologies to all the other students.
Yeah.
But do I read? But
at least they get their metro.
yeah, they get a metro. Yep.
Another thing, you think we are talking about AI, artificial intelligence. You think in upcoming months, years, journalists will come in the morning and ask ChatGPT what could be the most interesting story? Yeah, I think would be a breakthrough, positive breakthrough, or gonna kill the creativity of journalists with the
And the jury's out. That one, there's people on both sides of that. I mean, Alex, if they're really interested. Cheers.
And we did pretty much articles about ChatGPT after it.
It's certainly an important development in our current future. Where's it going to go from here?
Exactly.
But definitely still too early, maybe.
Yep.
To figure out the changes that's gonna.
So I think that's us a bit time up now. So thanks for chatting.
Yeah, it was
good, interesting conversation.
very interesting.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Breakthrough Press podcast. Join us next time where we'll be hearing from our social media and marketing team.